Good.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Mike, can you hear me? Hello? You got it? Hello?
Hello? Well, they can hear me.
It's number 4. Good? Continue? Can you hear me or no? No? Can't hear me. How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yeah. Speak loud.
Can we go to this one? Can we go to this microphone?
It's all.
Good?
You might have to flick it on.
Well, thank you everyone for being here. I know this is like the last day and everybody's like so excited about the whole conference, and thank you so much for hearing our story. And it's all of us have an incredible story, so I hope that what we shared today encourages you and builds your own legacy with your family.
Thank you, I appreciate it. How about now? You got me? All right. So thank you everyone for being here. Like my wife Milagros just said, it's a great opportunity to be able to stand here before you and tell our story. And each of the 3 couples that you're going to hear from today, the 3 scenarios are very unique. But the one thing that they do have in common, and the commonality that we share, is our commitment to Avon. And that didn't always, it wasn't always like that. I'm a very straightforward, honest person, and I can tell you that I was not involved in the business at the beginning. It took at least 2 years for me to come on board and start helping my wife with the business, right? At least. So the truth is, it started with her. I call her my upline. She's the one that brought me to the business. And the most important thing that she did was that every single day, she proved to me that she was committed to this business and that this was really what she wanted to do. So the idea of bringing your husband or your spouse on board starts with the representative. See, what happens is that us guys have a difficulty understanding the business model. We can't relate to lipstick. I had no knowledge of Avon. I didn't understand it. Long story short, I had no respect for it. I'm a man. I didn't understand it. I couldn't relate to it. And my wife had the patience and the knowledge and was kind enough to bring me into the business little by little. She would invite me to the events and teach me how the business worked. And I didn't start running with it until I started seeing the money. And the story goes that I go to the mailbox, similar to what Randy was saying, and I wanted to open her the blue check. The payments used to come in the form of a blue check. And that pay period at work, by the way, I have a full-time job, and that pay period at work, I had made a bunch of money. I felt like I was a really strong, powerful man. You know, I made a great check. I was really proud of myself, and I was young and cocky, and nothing was better than what I did, and certainly wasn't Avon, right? So I go to the mailbox. There's the blue check. I open the check, and I had earned $4,800 with a gazillion hours of overtime. And I opened Millie's blue check, and it was $5,000. So that was the moment when I knew I was doing the wrong things. It was the wrong behavior, and all along that entire time frame that I told you about, I was the dream stealer, because I would come home and Millie was not paying attention. She was doing something else. It wasn't about me anymore. It was about her Avon and her products. And I was that guy. That guy that Renee was talking about, that was me. For over 2 years, I could not relate to the business, and I didn't want her to do it. And I figured I got a very well-paying job. I have a career, and there's no reason why my wife has to be out there talking to people about Avon. And I got this. I got health insurance, and I got you covered. The truth is, I may have had her covered, but we didn't have money in the bank. And we didn't have extra money to do anything. And we were eating McDonald's and Burger King. And I didn't have an RV, an ATV, a 5,000 square foot house. We had nothing, right, Mom? We had nothing. We had a career, and it sounded good, and I looked good in uniform, but we had no money. Isn't that amazing? So what I'm asking the gentleman in the room to do, and I know that you'll be receptive to it because you're here today, and I want to congratulate you for being here. I want you to go home and check your level of commitment with the support that you provide to your wife, because she's going to do it with or without you. It might take her a little longer without you, but she's going to do it. And I'm a live testimony of that. I can tell you the story that it happened to me. And since 2007, my wife has been earning a 6-figure income with Avon. So success doesn't happen overnight. I know a lot of you are sitting here, you're building, you're team building, you're growing, and I know that your commitment is there. And I'm asking you to dig a little deeper, help her with whatever it is you can do to help her grow her team and her business. And I'm gonna let Millie talk a little bit now. I'm gonna let her take over and tell you her side of the story.
Everything he said, it's on point. Every time I hear how we got here, I really get emotional because it's difficult. It's difficult to build a business, and a lot of us get started and things are not working out, and it's easier to say I can't do this and just give up. I had no choice. When I first considered Avon, I didn't have an Avon lady. My Avon lady actually quit. So I found that I wanted a discount first, and then I found that I needed some extra money, and that's how I got started. I never viewed it as a business until it just happened, until people started buying more from me. And when I saw the opportunity of leadership and a way to spend more time with my family, then I asked Carlos if he would support me, that I wanted to leave my job. I was already 3 years into the business. I was selling a lot of Avon, $2,000 to $3,000 every 2 weeks. And I knew that if I started independent full-time, that I would make it. So he said, of course he wanted me to leave my job so that I can be a housewife and take care of the kids. He thought that building an Avon business would be basically as a hobby whenever I had time. And it didn't happen that way. I had to work on a schedule, and that was difficult. A lot of how we got here got to do with a big need that we had. You know, leaving a job and saying that you have to replace those earnings because my contribution to our household is necessary. My Avon business is not a hobby, it's a need for our home. So I would either have to go back to work, or I would have to focus on my Avon business. And my biggest thing was that I would be able to spend more time with my family and my kids.
Millie was very kind the way she expressed that. It was a very difficult conversation in the garage of our home, and it was more like either you start making money or you're going back to work because we're not losing the house.
Yes, and when you put against the wall, when you don't know what you're gonna do, the only thing that I thought about is for me to give my commitment, and my commitment was that I begged him because I had no income. I begged him to give me 2 years. And I'm proud to say that after 2.5 years, we reached the highest level of leadership, which back then was senior executive leader. And I was making the money, and that's when he said, "Put me in your account. I'm gonna do this with you."
So our Avon, it's nice to stand up here on stage and share with you all our story, but the truth is that we were once in your seat. We were once building and growing, and our checks were this big, and we were trying to figure this out. and why are they doing it, and why are we not, and what do we have to do, and how we're going to do it, and what's next. So my takeaway for you is a couple things. I want you to understand that as a couple, and I see a lot of couples here sitting in the audience, you're two people, one goal, twice as fast. Thank you.
One last thing, bear with me. I want to talk about my kids and the role that they played with our business. We have 3 kids, and the first 2 were not around. We both came from the military, not spending a lot of time with our kids. They were spent a lot of time at the babysitter when we had field exercises for weeks, months. We never got to see them. For me, that was painful, and I wanted to do it differently with our last son, with Austin. And I told him I really want to raise him with me. The first 4 years, he stayed at a babysitter, and he didn't like that. He's always been very close to us. So when I started my Avon business from home, he would come with me. And I took him everywhere, and we celebrated after a whole day of appointments. Sometimes we'll come home very late. But my thing to him, my saying was always, you knew what it felt for somebody else to take care of you. I'm taking care of you. We are spending time together, and it's fun when we go and do appointments, when we go meet new customers. He loved it because there were always kids there. We've also built a great kids legacy with Belinda. Belinda, I'm sure you know, and her videos, Belinda Cruz Paz. She grew up with us. She grew up with listening to me and my Avon stories and motivating our team, who, by the way, they're here too. So thank you, Avon Wings. And then Belinda, she has goals, a lot of goals, and our son as well. We have built such a strong legacy with them that they want to become millionaires when they grow up. They don't want to work for anybody else but themselves. So for us, having our own Avon business has allowed us to influence our kids and other generations of friends that are going to have an amazing future just because we have showed them the discipline and what it is to have their own Avon business. So thank you, everyone. Take your kids everywhere and tell your husband that to give you 2 years.
Don't be the dream stealer.
Thank you.